Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're dialing in from. And thank you to those who are on the recording and the podcast as well. We're so glad you're here today. We are your hosts, Nicole DeMeo and Janine Moss, and we'll say a little bit about that and ourselves. But you have arrived at making sense of today's marketing technologies for small and medium-sized businesses. So welcome today. In today's discussion, we're going to talk about small and medium-sized businesses and how you can take advantage of AI marketing technologies to build reputation, build your business and build your reputation. So we'll dive in that way. I want to invite you to put your name, your business name, and a way to stay in touch with you in the chat if you'd like. And I'd also invite you to put questions into the chat. We will do our best to leave as much time as possible at the end of this discussion and perhaps hit a few questions along the way. So please don't hesitate to put your questions in the chat. So Janine and I are your hosts. I am bringing all of my 25-year plus career as a CMO or in Chief Strategy Officer. I've done, roll-ups, built, many hundreds of startups, literally, and have been instrumental in building at least 3 unicorns and 1 decacorn. So that's my story. And Janine?
Hi, I'm Janine Moss, and I really started in the trenches of marketing, like writing copy and for Burger Kings and doing that kind of advertising work. Went to New York City, ended up being promoting New York City tourism for a decade, worked for the September 11th Fund, and Nicole and I have been business partners for like 22 years. It's really quite amazing. So we're really looking forward to talking about how we used to do things and how we're doing things now.
Very much so. So just a little bit about Outfront Solutions. This is our 4th consultancy really together over that 22 years that we've been business partners. And what we're doing across the board is we're helping businesses and executives seize opportunities. That's kind of our mantra this year. And we're standing alongside all of you and co-creating opportunities for growth and valuation. We're aligning with strategy, technology, and services in a lot of times with the focus to help you differentiate, outperform competitors and mind share, wallet share competitors, and build really meaningful customer relationships. So this construct on the right is our ikigai, which is a Japanese term for reason for being, and it represents all the ways that we work with different organizations. And always at the center of what we do is driving for purpose and results. And we very much align with our clients and our partners on their purpose. And we really appreciate the reverberating circles and how that positively can impact a lot of people. So, and today we're going to talk a lot about, of course, marketing technologies and customer acquisition. So there'll be a little bit more of a focus on that today. So here's what's going on. This time is being called, AI is being hailed as the 4th industrial revolution. And, coming from steam power to electricity to, digital technologies, artificial intelligence is being called the next industrial revolution. And we really see it as being so. There's been a lot in the news You've been probably absolutely inundated with the news around AI, and a lot of leaders are speaking out as to the impact of AI. In fact, just yesterday, there was a really interesting Fortune piece that was quoting a lot of CEOs, and the PayPal CEO, Dan Schulman, was saying things like, I don't think that we're underestimating the impact that AI will have. It will be pretty massive. For instance, we're doing a lot of experimentation in code development right now, and we're seeing a 30% improvement in productivity across all industry, and across all, front office, back office, and seeing 30 to 40% increase in productivity. And then just yesterday, John Wren, the CEO of Omnicom, so that's the largest marketing and communications and advertising firm in the world, was saying that they're running towards AI with hair on fire. He said, we're quickly embracing the technology as we see massive opportunities to boost the productivity of our people and deliver better work to clients. And that they're working closely with clients to take advantage of the benefits, but also being mindful of limitations, risk, and privacy concerns. So we'll hit on that later as well. But suffice to say, this is an absolutely massive movement. It is impacting our lives, and it's just an imperative to be embracing these different marketing technologies and AI specifically as part of that.
So AI-powered marketing solutions incorporate technologies and approaches that enable machines to simulate human intelligence, learn from data, make decisions, understand language, and solve complex problems, which is why it's so powerful. And it's not just AI technologies that are part of MarTech solutions. It's usually a collection of technologies. And so some of the typical technologies that are included in AI MarTech solutions is, well, generative AI, which is an output of AI technologies. And that's the chat GPTs and Siri and Alexa. And these are AI systems, generative AI systems, enable new content creation, like audio coding that Nicole was mentioning, images, text. So there's the AI technology, which is not always generative AI. Generative AI is an application of that technology, of those technologies, of AI technologies. Another one that's and often used, and ChatGPT uses it, which is machine learning, ML, right? And machine learning enables machines to learn and adapt. It's the algorithms that give it the instructions that let it do its job, right? So AI is the capability to learn, ML is the enabling algorithms for it. There's also NLP, which is natural language processing, and that's the technology that lets the AI understand human language and find the context and interpret what it is that we're saying. And then there's computer vision, and that's what's being employed when you're searching for images or when you're creating images. They call it's computer vision. And algorithms, I know we mentioned them already, but those are like little sets of instructions to complete tasks. And we want to mention this because as you go through your exploration on all these tools, you'll see these technologies coming up, and you'll know a little bit more about what they all can do. So what's really kind of amazing, and it's more than kind of amazing, it's truly astounding, is that there are so many new AI products that have already been created, new ones coming up every single day, and there are 422 or more plugins available for ChatGPT as of July. Now, last month we looked into this, and there were 200 plus plugins. So in 1 month, there's over 200 new plugins that have been added. So the velocity here is truly, truly astounding. So the products, the products help with sales prospecting, understanding audiences, writing copy, and things like that. And some of the behemoths that are already integrated with or have integrated AI into their platforms are like Salesforce and Thomson Reuters and Morgan Stanley and Oracle and Stripe and Adobe's Photoshop, for example. And I think it was yesterday or the day before that Wix announced. Wix is the platform where you build it automatically, or you can use templates to build your website. Well, now Wix has added AI to its platform, and it claims that you can just speak to its AI, tell it what your business is all about, and within minutes, it's going to create a whole website for you. So these tools are just absolutely astounding to us and probably to you too. And this slide here, we included it because it kind of sums up another reason why you simply can't ignore AI. And this comes from a study that LinkedIn did recently. And one of the things they say is that the value of artificial intelligence is expected to grow 20-fold by 2030. And that's up to $2 trillion US. I mean, this thing is enormous. And another thing that's interesting is that ChatGPT reached its first million users in only 5 days. And it took Netflix 3.5 years to hit that mark. So we would have normally said, oh my gosh, this adoption curve is like astounding. And we think it is, but Threads, about 2 weeks ago, Threads came out, and Threads hit 2 million users in the first 2 hours. Now you have to admit they had a head start, being Meta and Facebook, but I just say that to illustrate the rapid advance and the rapid adoption that's occurring here. So 42% of CMOs are very eager to adopt this new technology. And we actually have a stat where in the enterprise level, in the middle market level, that 81% of marketers are already adopting AI. So we think this quote is worth saying out loud because it should give us all a little moment to think, which is that AI will not replace you, but someone using AI will. So let's be mindful, let's put it to work for ourselves, and let's understand that it's really here. So we're going to have to interact with it.
Yeah, very much so. I just wanted to add that also the dollars are following AI and generative AI. So this year alone, there have been over $14 billion put into generative AI companies. So it's not going anywhere. It's adding to productivity. So we all, as marketers and business leaders, need to embrace, as Janine was saying, AI technologies and become better at interacting with AI. And one of the terms that I've heard thrown around a lot and feel like I am sometimes is a prompt engineer, that we get better and better at asking the right questions so that we get the best output, right? So how many times have you asked Siri or Alexa a question and you haven't really gotten the best answer, but when you alter that question, and the same goes for ChatGPT and so many of these generative AI tools, even the visual ones, when you're prompting them properly and successfully, you get a better output.
So the significance of AI, just to underscore that, is that by 2025, which is just a couple of years away or a blink of the eye, 30% of outbound marketing messages from large organizations are going to be synthetically generated. That's according to Gartner, the analyst group. So again, points to the adoption that's happening right now.
And then Gartner had this to say in terms of generative AI and its evolution over the next 5 years. They're saying that over the next year, generative AI will democratize insights and content creation, right? I think, that is happening so rapidly. And we're all seeing this increased productivity and whatnot. Over the next 3 years, Gartner says that 75% of operational staff will shift from production to more strategic activities. And this is rolling and happening really significantly now, but imagine how that really shifts the workforce and all that we're doing or our teams are doing. And then over the next 5 years, Gartner's saying that the dynamic tailored experiences will literally transform a customer engagement with brands. And so we're, we think we're interacting a lot with AI and generative AI, the output of generative AI now. Those lines are just going to be completely blurred moving forward. So here's something that is rather astounding. The MarTech, marketing technology landscape, has grown by over 7,083%. So there are 11,000 marketing technology tools. In 2021, there were 150. So today there are over 11,000. So for all of us, navigating this world is really complex. Doesn't matter what size your organization is. And there are so many redundancies and points of overlap that we're finding, that we're talking to our clients and our partners about, where to weed out the redundancies in capabilities across your different tools. And then, where it is that you weave in AI, ML, and natural language processing as part of your process for customer acquisition, customer retention, and relationship building. So we're going to touch on a number of those tools. We also have a resource guide that we'll be offering to you, and just to contribute to the community and filter through some of these 11,000 MarTech tools.
And I think some of the things that you're going to see in the coming years is MarTech tools that do a whole bunch of different features all in one platform. From knowing the audience to figuring out what content they should get to distributing the content, measuring it. So it's kind of going into kind of an all-in-one solution set. We're already seeing that.
Yeah, and democratized in terms of the cost. We do see the cost coming down for a lot of these tools as the competition increases. And so this is something that we see at Outfront Solutions. We see, these new technologies are addressing 4 megatrends in marketing. So the first megatrend that we see is this shift to digital first, right? The pandemic threw us into the need for digital first. If brands or organizations weren't embracing digital before, they simply needed to, or become obsolete during the pandemic. That is only continuing. But you will also see in a following slide how people are focused across the marketing mix. But these technologies are having to address the trend in digital first. They're having to address the fact that cookies are going out and privacy is being embraced. Right. So, we're seeing the end of third-party cookies. We're seeing a lot of organizations that are actually being sued because of privacy issues. And thankfully, there's a much greater focus on privacy to protect, profiling customers is just going out, thankfully, because a lot of the larger and even smaller organizations, it isn't values aligned to, profile people and, not necessarily respect their privacy, but B, you could be exposed to lawsuits. So, privacy is really, really in. And actually, yesterday, we just issued an article about personalization, how you can personalize content without violating privacy. So it's all possible. The third mega trend that we see impacting MarTech is the decline of the mega platforms. So, Google and Meta don't hold as much weight, especially with the use of these large language models like ChatGPT. People are searching in the AI tools and getting the kinds of insights in content that they're looking for in different platforms. So we're seeing this, the need for transparency and with scalable outcomes, to have scalable outcomes, there's a massive need to be in many different channels and have an omnichannel strategy. That's something that we're working on, every day. And then fourth is that, there are a lot of breakthrough technologies. So big data is finally really becoming much more intelligent through the use of AI and ML. We just spoke to another MarTech company yesterday. We evaluate them on a very regular basis. And we spoke to a company yesterday, and then they said they had 75,000 different campaigns to look at. And now with AI and ML, you can really process that big data in a much more effective way and therefore optimize content and campaigns for people.
I just want to underscore two things, I think. One is that the digital first consumer is different in that they didn't necessarily discover your brand offline, which is how, still a lot of purchasing, and majority is still offline. I think actually they crossed the lines recently between online and offline sales, but the digital first consumer is somebody who never knew you and just discovers you online. And so how do you brand in that case? How do you get mind share? That's what's so challenging about this environment now. And I would also say that Nicole and I believe that in regard to the decline of the mega platforms, because of the lack of trust, because it's hard to Google doesn't really let you track things down to the point of sale, but smaller communities and smaller websites will enable you to reach business goals, not just clicks, not just views, right? But achieve business goals. And there'll be smaller, more trusted sites and communities, we believe, going forward.
And then this statistic is rather important as well, and that's just that 81% of marketers are currently using generative AI, or plan on increasing their usage over the next year, rather. And so, you look at the different go-to-market channels here, with generative AI being, the most the biggest area of focus. It has the highest predicted usage increase over the next year, especially for B2B marketing leaders who use marketing technologies today. It's also interesting to see here, the importance and the plans to use video, podcasts, join in online communities, as Janine was mentioning. And then it's also interesting to see the importance of events. So in-person events, digital events like this one that we're hosting, and hybrid events are going to be really important moving forward. Generative AI, is really the biggest area where people plan to increase their usage.
Yep.
And then it wouldn't be appropriate to speak about marketing technologies and AI without flagging the importance of the ethical and safe usage of AI technology. And that's truly a concern for everyone across, privacy. There's just such a significant amount of misinformation and not really knowing where content is coming from, and authenticating is a challenge. And then the discrimination and bias is pretty rampant. And, you see a lot in the news, thankfully, about the regulations, with the EU really leading, once again, in terms of regulations around AI and generative AI and the use of a lot of these marketing technology tools, and the need for the big and small brands to get involved in that conversation and protect people. But it's usage, copyright, privacy is all rather concerning. And so, we're working in a way that we're only working with companies where they have a very clear path to respecting privacy of users. We just won't work in any other way. And I think that marketers honestly did a bit of a disservice to people and customers over the past years with the social media platforms. And so we need to grow and move beyond that and really focus on respecting people and diversity across these tools.
And on a bright note on that topic, AI is going to be used for that purpose too, to be able to enable us to know what's true and what's not, to identify discrimination. A lot of people are working on those technologies right now. So I'm hopeful on that score.
Yeah, there's a lot of human flourishing.
Yeah. So let's talk just for a minute about the best. Now, well, this is going to be more than just a minute, because now we're going to get into the differences of before and now. But let's talk about the uses of AI and their best uses. And according to Lumascape, now Lumascape is the organization that makes those maps. They map the MarTech landscape, and they make these huge maps, which tiny little logos, because there's 11,000 technologies. They're experts in this area. Their point of view is that the best use of AI MarTech is to build better creative experiences that are more relevant to consumers and make the media and data perform better. Well, that's like the holy grail right there. But let's start with experiences. So what are experiences? What are creative experiences? They're the words, the images, the music, the method that people interact, the products, the offers, the pricing, all of that is the experience. And being creative about that is how you're really engaging people with content. And we're going to talk more about that in a moment. So you may have attended a previous unboxing workshop where we introduced the technology Zen Apps. And Zen Apps it has harnessed the power of emotional intelligence. You can go back on our website. We have that if you're interested. And what it does is it applies emotional intelligence to the experience, to the creative experience that a company might deliver. So that's just an example of how AI is doing that right now and doing it better and more sensitively than was done before. And the relevance part, well, that too, we strive for that always. So it's relevance. It's about, it's about knowing, being relevant to the consumer, not just telling them about all the great stuff we have for them and why our product's better, but speaking to what they care about. And we're going to talk about technologies that we use right now that do that, right? Making media perform better. Well, we've got pretty sad media responses in the online digital marketing world. I mean, I'm sure you all know, like, if you say, well, what's your conversion? What do you expect in conversion? It's like 2 or 3%. And we're like, great, I got 2 or 3%. But if you could make that media perform better, what if it was 4% or 5%? Those are enormous dollar differences, enormous differences to your business. And AI is helping us do that right now. And data, as Nicole talked earlier, we're collecting data from so many sources today, from so many channels, from our website, from our MailChimp, from our, CRM. We can't possibly deal with that data. We couldn't collect it fast enough. We've tried. And analyzing it required data scientists, right? But now this analysis is actually being built into these technologies. So actually, we can deliver on this goal right now, and I'm sure it's going to just get better and get better quickly. So this is I want to spend a little time on this slide because this is to talk about the old way and the new way of doing things. And I think what's important here to know is that it is not the end all and be all. There's a lot of things that go into, but we wanted to kind of summarize it so that you can kind of see how things have changed. So I'm going to start with the old way, right? So in the old way, if we wanted to understand our audiences, what did we do? So we had qualitative, and by the way, when I speak about the old way, it's mostly how it's still being done. You know, we're still in the very early innovator and maybe end of the innovator stage and getting into the early adopter stage right now. So most people are still doing things the old way. So think about knowing about your audience. We have qualitative and quantitative research options, right? Well, both of these take a huge amount of time, a lot of people. They take time to, for example, field a quantitative research survey, right? Takes a lot of time to create it, to get it out there, to get the results, and then to figure out what they tell you. On the qualitative side, think about focus groups. I love focus groups. I have a lot of experience with them. But to do a focus group, you got to find your audience. You've got to get them into rooms. You've got to figure out your screening sheet. You've got to conduct these focus groups. You've got to crunch what they told you. It's just an enormously expensive and time-consuming process. So and what else we would do is we would take our customer database and we would enrich it with data. And enriching it with data, what that means is we would buy data from somebody who had all the data from the cookies that were tracking you all over the internet and knowing what you bought and knowing what you visited, all that data plus public data, what the home that you own, your car registration, they know all of that stuff, and they would amend it to your customer database so you knew everything possible about Janine. Well, that's exactly what we're talking about when we talk about privacy violations. That data really does invade our privacy when it's being used the way it does. It is. So that's how we used to do it, right? And then when it came to content, you know, I told you I've grown up in the trenches. I've been doing content marketing all my life. I like to think I'm good at it. I've got a journalist background. I've done special inserts for the New York Times. I've done videos, created magazines, you name it. That's what content marketing was, right? We decided to say, okay, who are we talking to? What do we want them to know? And why should they care? And that was always kind of like the core of how we would figure out what to write about. And it worked somewhat, it worked pretty well. But we were saying, this is what we think our customers think. We can do better now. In regard to distribution, and then I mean everything from articles to advertising, we would make our media decisions. We would either buy that media ourselves or we'd hire somebody to do it. And then we would collect data from across a lot of different channels. You'd be looking at your Google Web Analytics. You'd be looking at your, email marketing, your social analytics, and pulling that all together to try to understand it. It was all disconnected. So therefore, measurement was kind of imprecise and really time intensive, right? You had to pull from every channel, and you'd have to grab it together and try to analyze it. And the worst part was when you had to report to a CEO or the board and show them what your marketing had done, it would take you literally days to put that information together, right? I'm sorry, when I said it would, it still does most of the time. And when it comes to optimization, typically what we do is, I'm sure you've heard the word growth hacking. Growth hacking is when you try to increase that dismal conversion rate by changing the color of your button, where they're going to click on an image that's around it. So it's hacking these mechanisms within the conversion, say, page, as opposed to a business goal. Right? You're just hacking these things. So optimization, was it business and goal and brand optimization, or was it simply process optimization? It's kind of more the latter. So let's talk a little bit about what it's like right now. So today, with audiences, when it comes to knowing them and finding them. And we need new strategies for understanding what they're looking for and engaging with. And we have technologies that do that. So rather than say, using demographics and psychographics, which is what we have also been using forever, and say, oh, the person who's going to buy this is going to be 25 to 45, and they're going to live in a white picket fence, they're going to have 2 kids, and they're driving a Volvo. Instead of that, we're saying, who's actually interested in buying my product? We don't care what you look like, where you live, how many kids you have. We care that you're actually wanting to buy our product. And I'll give you a great example. I am right now, you probably can't see it because it's green, I'm sitting in a gamer chair. And I can promise you, people like me who sit for hours and hours in front of a computer need an ergonomic chair, right, to sit in. So gamers really know what they're doing. So I've got a gamer chair. But I promise you, no one's targeting me and my age group for gamer chairs, and they're leaving money on the table. So this is just an example as how you of why demographics, psychographics are not really all that great. They're useful, and you can find lookalike audiences, but they're even better is knowing that they're in the market to buy, right? So as for content, wouldn't it be awesome if you knew what topics people were actually searching for and engaging with online? And now you can, and you can do that even before you've spent all that money creating the content. Because think about it, you've got your writers and you've got your editors, as we were talking about before. There's a lot that goes into creating content. So knowing what will convert, and what that is it's a kind of a predictive engine that is available that can say, these are the topics that people are interested in and engaging with. And these are the most likely to convert. And in regard to distribution, it can even tell you, here's what the best content would be for your PPC advertising. Here's what would be best for SEO. And here's something you should post in social. So these are awesome, incredible insights that really increase the effectiveness of our media, as well as our content strategy. And measurement is really, it almost seems like that's what MarTech was invented for, because again, it's gathering a lot of data from a lot of different places. And to get, and since we live in the omnichannel world, as Nicole was saying, pulling in all that data is incredibly time consuming. So these technologies will actually integrate with the channels and pull down the results and present you with a unified picture of what's going on. And it can go all the way down to purchase attribution if a client agrees. That requires going into the CRM and an agreement between a client and the marketer to do that. So if you're in-house, no problem. If you're an agency, you need to get your client to agree to let you go down to the purchase attribution, which is just something that we've been striving for. Sorry, let me just finish this last one. Uh-oh. Whoops. Here we go. Sorry about that. And the final one is optimization. What's really great about that is that there's, first of all, no lag time anymore. So you've got these integrated insights into topics, offers, images, and the journey to conversion, and you can apply them right away across the marketing mix. And what Nicole and I really love about that is that it creates the unity and the cohesion that we've been trying to get for absolutely years. Remember integrated marketing, we've been talking about it for 20 years. It can finally actually be here.
Yeah.
So the big difference between the old way and the new way is that the old way is really time, money, and resource intensive. And the new way is more fast, it's automated, and it actually, as Nicole observed earlier, really cuts down costs. We're seeing about 30% cost reduction in general. So to sum up how AI MarTech changes the game, it's automated and integrated. You can target topics, not people, and be privacy compliant. It taps into purchase intent because you know what people are searching for and what they're engaging with. It reduces cost and time. It reduces your cost of customer acquisition, which is enormous, especially if you're in a growth mode for your business. And it achieves significantly higher ROI than other methods because of the ability to track and understand and optimize. There's a faster time to value. The technology, one of the ones we're going to talk to you about in a minute, is like within 6 weeks, you're already seeing a whole lot of value come out of it. And you can do more with less, which is probably what we're all struggling with right now. You know, budgets are not going up, and we're finding that operations of marketing are the areas that are going up the most. So to be able to reduce costs in marketing operations is enormous. Getting more relevant content, less waste. You know, we personally hate waste. It's like a personal affront. And also the ability to do predictive modeling. If you know what topics work, if you know what channels they're going to produce best in, you can make very good predictions on what kind of return you're going to get on your marketing investment.
And
Nicole?
then, yeah, here's a framework that we put together and how we see the world and how we approach marketing technologies. And this, Diane, you popped in the chat that you're wondering how exactly you can use this. Well, this is the path that we recommend. And then we're also going to illustrate with a few technologies that we use, and how you can take the new path, the new way forward in marketing with these different technologies. We always start with strategy. That's not going to change, right? We're starting with knowing the objectives and KPIs. What are we setting out to do so that we can really back into, you know, what do those campaigns and, you know, content need to look like? We then focus on topics. So Janine was just illustrating the fact that the old way to understand an audience would be to go through, you know, all this quantitative and qualitative research, etc. Today, it's possible to understand exactly the topics people care about. So you're not profiling people, you're profiling the topics. And so in Janine's example, you know, somebody who's looking for an ergonomic chair, they may want a gamer chair, and you wouldn't, from a demographic or psychographic, you know, standpoint, typically target somebody like Janine for that. But the topic is really that point of engagement and intent. So when somebody's in social and engaging on a topic, when they're in search, engaging on you know, and looking for a topic, when they're across the marketing mix, the topic is really what drives and shows us exactly where the point of engagement is. And we'll tell you about a technology that we leverage for that. And I also put in the chat the article, Know What Content Converts Best Before You Invest, that illustrates taking this topic and keyword-driven approach. That informs those topics and keywords, really inform the content in campaigns. It also informs how you work with generative AI. And then where, you know, what content in campaigns, where the different topics will be successful across the omnichannel mix. We then focus on what are those key points of distribution. So reaching people at that point of engagement, that point of intent. You know, what are the different channels that are going to deliver the content in campaigns to drive to greater success, and for, you know, to feed your customer acquisition strategy, lead gen, and you know, revenue growth. We're always focused on attribution and measurement, and as Janine was illustrating earlier, that's easier and easier to do now because of most of these marketing technology tools are synthesizing and, you know, interpreting the data. Or you should be asking, if you're working with an agency or a firm, you should be asking them to provide you with the dashboard for attribution and measurement, because it's all possible to be measured. And that is really the only way that we get to the final item here, that you can truly do the analysis and optimization and see where to dial up or dial down content and campaigns across the mix, where you're seeing how, maybe you're being really effective with the content, the blogs and articles you're putting out there. And, you need to really be able to track and measure, how they're a successful lead source, and really understand what those topics are that have driven that successful engagement. So we err on the side of not just using AI, but also, AI and machine learning ML technologies, because we need to learn along the way. So one company we just wanted to spotlight is Promonio. And what this company does is really marketing planning. So what Promonio can do is just look across your channels and give you even a predictive snapshot of the potential results of how you'll do across, and shown on this slide. Sorry, it's a little ugly, but the back end can be a little ugly. But how are things going with LinkedIn invites? How is that driving, your customer acquisition? Where are you successful in your affiliate program, or, really having an understanding and ongoing measurement of what's happening across different channels, so that you can predictively continue to invest in those that are performing better for you. So there are a few tools in this category, and Promonio is a really interesting one.
So topic intelligence is another technology we're using a lot, because it does a lot. It's one of those ones that gathers a lot of different capabilities together. It provides marketers with the data to know which topics are worthy investments capable of driving conversions across all the channels we've been discussing. So for your content strategy, and we use it for brand strategy as well, because when you see this enormous group of topics and subtopics, you really can understand what's on people's minds. So we use it on the upfront for brand strategy, content strategy, planning and development. The topics then become fodder for your PR, thought leadership, and events. I hope this is helping you, Diane, see how to apply some of these to what you do, as I saw in your chat. So this content then feeds these efforts, and then feeds those efforts. Then you also use it in your search engine marketing. So pay-per-click and search engine optimization, it all relies on topics and content to intersect with the purchase intent, right? So now you know what people are looking for. You know what you have to say to them to get them to be more interested in what you have. And then using your email, using these topics and subtopics in email, social, sales, and across the marketing mix creates the consistency for branding, right? As well as gives you the opportunity to have greater attribution and measurement. So knowing that social contributed X to sales, email contributed Y, that's what we really always have wanted to know precisely, right? So the kinds of results that we're seeing with topic intelligence is like a reduced customer acquisition cost, right? For a financial services company, reduce its cost of customer acquisition by 77%. And let me just grab my notes here. Reduce the, oops, sorry, this seems to have a mind of its own these days. The topic intelligence reduced the cost per lead by 60% for a networking technology. And what that means is, as you know, it costs a lot of money to get somebody into your funnel, through your funnel, clicking on, yes, call me for a meeting, set a meeting, right? That costs a lot of money. So reducing that cost by 60% is enormous, especially when you're scaling, right? When you're in a growth mode. And then topic intelligence has also produced a 25% improvement in content engagement for a fashion brand, for example. And whereas, and these incremental percentages are exponential in terms of the dollar results that they're creating. So topic intelligence uses AI, ML, LLM, and it assembles billions of pieces of data to figure out what the topics are that people are searching and engaged with. It ranks those topics that are actually driving the conversations. It tells you what channel to employ those topics in. And then they actually can distribute the content to contextually relevant sites. And it also has a dashboard. So it's quite an amazingly powerful program.
And
So,
Janine, we're almost out of time, so we
okay.
should probably kind of jump through.
Okay, so I'm going to lose on the profit wheel. Here's what I want to say here. We're always looking at new technologies. Profit wheel is one. It does some amazing things with audience and insights and how to connect with them. But we'd like to know what technologies you're using that you might like. And we'd also like to know if you'd like us to review any for you, because we're constantly, as Nicole said, doing it. So if you want to throw into the chat anything that's on your mind, we'll look into it and we'll let you know.
Yeah.
Nicole, do you want to take it from here?
Yeah, sorry, I was just getting back to someone in the chat. Yeah, we just want to say that, you know, should you want to engage with us, this is the way to do it. It's Outfront Solutions in contact, and that's all over our website. We are extending a 15% discount to anyone coming in through the Leadership Global community to work with us across, you know, marketing technologies. So we welcome you to book a call with us and let us understand what your objectives are and see if we can't recommend a path forward. Yeah.
And just so that you know what you get is this topic intelligence map of knowing what's on your customers' minds, what they're looking for, what they're engaging with, and you get 10 pieces of really targeted content. So it's a really nice little package for, you know, consultants and people like that. And it's not very expensive.
Yeah. And then also, we just wanted to extend to you, thank you again so much for being here today. We wanted to extend to you a resource guide. So if you would like that to be sent to you, you can just pop us an email at info@outfront.solutions. We would love to share that with you. And it's a shortened list from that 11,000. We've taken other lists from a couple of different organizations, synthesized those, and also added technologies that we know and are connected with. And then we just wanted to mention that we are launching an AI MarTech Council soon in the community, in the Leadership Global and C-Suite Network community. And then our next unboxing growth is August 18th. And that one will be very fun. We'll be talking about strategically telling your business story. And we'll have a Leadership Global community member, Melissa Reeves, joining us. So we're looking forward to that. Please, you know, watch out for that invitation from us and join us on August 18th. And
we'll go there in a sec, but you can email at info@outfront.solutions for the resources if you want to be on the MarTech Council list, etc.
Yeah, all of it. All of it. That's a great way to stay in touch with us. So thank you so much for being here today with us. We greatly appreciate your time, and we welcome you to get in touch should you want to, you know, continue this as a conversation. And we see it as a conversation. Just reach out to us at, you know, Nicole at outfront.solutions or Janine at outfront.solutions. We have a newsletter that you can subscribe to as well, and that's called the Velvet Curtain. So we send that out on a regular basis and share our articles as we have